Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about the best sleeping position for sleep apnea, okay? And the reason this is important because I mean honestly, if you don't have a good way to really get to the core of fixing sleep apnea, this is a good way to be able to bridge or just not be as miserable otherwise because there are certain positions that will predispose you to having more apneic events. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, obviously. If the whole thing, well, we'll get into the whole thing. So this is a great episode to be able to get a little bit more as you're seeking further solutions to be able to make sure that sleep apnea is not this miserable harbinger of doom. Man, that got really heavy there. Uh, Segueing to a lighter thought. So, why is this important? So, we first need to know in terms of like when we looked at sleep apnea sort of historically before, but just a really brief summary. When they first noticed um, this issue, okay, they didn't even call it sleep apnea at the time. They were like, "Whoa, how do we fix this?" Right? People are hyperventilating at night, and then they stop breathing. What the heck? Uh, and they tried many things. Okay, and one of the first things, as modern medicine loves to do, is just throw some drugs at it, like barbiturates and benzodiazepines, which they'll help you sleep for sure, just like a baseball bat does. But the main reason or rationale was because these people are overbreathing, and that overbreathing is causing their airways to collapse. They didn't know exactly how at that time, but that's the main mechanism. So if we decrease the breathing with some of these drugs we got, to fix it, right? Well, as you know, every single time you take a step, and if it doesn't work, you learn something new, right? Like when you maybe if you try to mouth guard, you try to CPAP, you're like, this isn't for me, and you find a more natural solution. And here we are, kind of talking, right? So with this, what they learned was I should just have like a pre-drawn thing here, but nonetheless, here is Dr. Peckus's Pez dispenser. This looks like a lizard. My goodness. Okay, so if you're a lizard, this will be really helpful for you. If you're a human, just try to imagine what the back of your throat looks like. So this scribble scrabble that I'm scrabbling and scribbling over here is your tongue, the back of your tongue muscle here. This is such an awful diagram here, but nonetheless, we're going to continue to learn from this. Essentially, what happens is that in the middle of the night, your tongue will shift back, okay, into the rear of your mouth here. And by doing this, it will close off your airway. Okay? That's fundamentally what happens with sleep apnea. The rear of your tongue goes into your throat, blocks things off. Okay? Base of the tongue into the glottis. Not super fun. Okay? When that happens, you stop breathing. Okay? So, this is why all roads lead to this. Okay? Because a lot of people will be like, oh, but like, you know, I have sleep apnea because of deviated septum, or I have sleep apnea because of overbite, or because of enlarged tonsils. Okay, all true statements. And again, anytime you have a narrowing in any part of your airway, it will increase airway resistance by a lot. Anytime you increase airway resistance, then you will have a greater drive to breathe. Okay, you will overbreathe. And when you overbreathe, because there's a reason this happens, this pause in breathing, it happens on the inhale, okay? Happens on the inhale, not on the exhale. The only reason this happens is because you have this big force of air going this way. And so almost like a vacuum cleaner or like a suction cup, it'll pull that tongue back into the back of your throat, blocking it off. And this is where positional therapy comes into place. Because the thing is, the name of the game is sleep apnea, okay? You got two options here. I mean, yeah, I guess really fundamentally two options. Option one is open, okay? Option two is slow breathing, or slow down breathing, rather. Now, for those smart cookies who are keeping count or have seen other episodes, you know that slowing down breathing will keep things open. All right? But it's our Western medicine mindset. Nothing wrong with Western medicine. You know, there's certain instances. Sign me up, right? But the thing is, if you just try to just keep this thing open, you don't really fix this issue. Okay? Nonetheless, you can still, edge by and get places, right? So part of that with positional therapy here, because again, the reason we want to do this, because one, if you don't know how to slow down your breathing or you don't know what's driving your overbreathing, having something is enough to get through or feel like slightly better, right? Because like every single time you wake up in the middle of the night, you actually probably have woken about like anywhere from 5 to 15 times more of that. Let me explain. When you wake up or someone with sleep apnea, very few times can people say, "Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night, I felt like I was choking," right? But it's actually happening while you're not conscious. So if you do get consciously woken up, multiply that by 5 to 15 times. I mean, it could be even higher, but try to capture most of the cases. That's how many times you've actually woken up in the middle of the night. So let's say you woke up like 6 times. Okay, we'll just keep it simple. Multiply that by 10. You've actually woken up 60 times that night. Okay, you only were consciously aware of 6 of these. Okay, and every single time this happens, it is like taking your cells and like choking them, okay, and depriving them of oxygen, which is then going to cause a lot of damage inside of these cells. And the most noticeable places are going to be in your nervous system, your blood vessels, your heart, and your brain. I mean, brain's part of the nervous system, but we'll kind of divide that up a little bit. And this is why, like sleep apnea, this is why they call it the silent killer, because it's going to cause damage to these things over time. So whether it's your brain, it's hard to concentrate, it's hard to be awake during a meeting. You just feel, I mean, you worry about what you're going to say or how people see you, or even, you're on blood pressure medication or you're seeing that number go up, or even metabolically, because every single time you choke your cells out, you're hurting their ability to burn fat the next day. And that's why that will pile up. So waking up a few times a night is a big stinking deal. Okay? That's what steals away the quality of people's life and many times their actual life. Okay? So being able to prevent this in any way we can is important. Where position comes into play. Okay? Because if we think about it again, I'm just hesitating over drawing again because I failed art class, I'll be honest, in 3rd grade. So I almost got held back for art class and then penmanship the next year in 4th grade. But we made it through. Come a long way. So essentially, when we're laying down at night, right, you're going to have big old tongue here. We'll keep it kind of more like an egg here. And then this looks like a fallen palm tree. We'll just say this is the rest of the skull here and all that. So now you're a scythe or a parrot. All this artwork will be available at the next charity auction. So if you're laying on your back, well, there's this thing called gravity that will pull this tongue back here. Okay? So sufficient to say, the worst position to be sleeping in when you have sleep apnea is on your back, or a supine position. Okay? Well, on your back, really. That's the most relatable way to say that. Because then gravity is going to set this up to just plop this back here. Okay? So that's the worst way. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. We'll circle back to this. Okay? So what are some better ways? Well, I mean, like by process of elimination, either on your, so going to be on your side is going to be the best. Well, let's just say side is your best. Okay. This is going to be the best way to do it. The second best is an elevated head of bed, or HOB. Okay. These are going to be the preferred way, because when you're on your side, you're not fighting gravity. Okay, you are a little bit, but it's gravity is pushing your tongue, or really pulling it rather, towards the side of your mouth as opposed to the back of your mouth. If you have an elevated head of bed, then instead of going right back down into your throat, it's the gravitational pull is going to be more this way against like the soft tissues and not your airways. Those are going to be the two best ways for you to be in a position there. Now, here's the thing though. If you had a thorn in your foot and you had to walk like on the outside or the inside or just on your tippy toes for the rest of your life, did you really fix the thorn? Okay. You didn't. That's why sometimes I'll joke with people. They'll say like, I have sleep apnea, but uh, you know, it's only when I'm on my back. Okay. So when you sleep on your side, where does it go? Because what did we say? Here we are. We only fix the open part. You're still having this issue where you're over breathing, right? You're still breathing too fast, even in these positions. So like, yes, you do fix the emergent issue. I mean, you reduce the emergent issue, but you're not getting to the underlying issue. Because we'll write this out, but still over breathing. All right. And what this then leads to is that your body has less oxygen. Okay. Now, wait. Wait, doctor. Guess what? We just said too much breathing, not enough oxygen. I thought air had oxygen. What's going on here? Okay, so great. Because pulmonary medicine is a little bit more complicated. But what you need to appreciate is that breathing is the intake of oxygen and getting rid of carbon dioxide or CO2. What you also need to understand is that CO2 will take your blood vessels from this to this. It'll make them bigger. Bigger blood vessels allow blood to travel into all the little nooks and crannies of our body here. And that's why an old saying from old respiratory physiology is that oxygen rides on the wings of carbon dioxide. And when you overbreathe, you lower carbon dioxide at night. It gets too low. And instead of having vasodilation, you have vasoconstriction, and oxygen can't get into some of the nooks and crannies of your body. So it's actually under oxygenated, or hypoxia would be another word. No, you won't detect this on a pulse ox because it's a bigger compartment of your body. This will be in those more distal parts, whether it's like in your muscles, in your central nervous system, in your cardiovascular system. That's where the chronic issue will be. Okay? This is why overbreathing, chronic overbreathing, etc., is associated with so many health issues because you're not giving the right amount of oxygen to the rest of the body so that it's able to function as it normally should. So even if you are in the right position, you're still having this big problem. And in fact, this is why. Wait, where's my other artwork here? This is why. This is something where, like, when I'm thinking, we don't purposely do this, but when someone's able to say, I can sleep on my back again, okay, that's a good sign they're going in the direction. Because being able to do this is a good sign that you're not, I hate to say it, you're not fragile, okay? Because again, back to that thorn analogy, if you have a thorn in your foot and you have to walk on a certain way, you still have a problem. And the thing is, you don't really control the position your body is in at night, okay? Some people do just stay in the same position all night. God bless you. You're a rarity. But for the most part, you're on your side. You're very close to being on your back. Incredibly close. Okay, this is why people like, oh, start on my side and then I wake up on my back. Yeah, because you still haven't fixed the issue because you still have this overbreathing that's pulling your tongue into that place. Okay, no matter how you slice it, or have an elevated head of bed, which I mean, this is already hard to sleep on. I don't know how people even do this. Okay. But also, whether it's like you move down a little bit or to the side, and then, it just gets to a place where, yet again, you have a fragile system because you're not addressing the real issue. So, honestly, I mean, yes, these are good short term, but you need to think long term here, okay? Because being able to sleep in this position, this is normal, optimal, healthy sleep here, bar none. Okay, so yes, like having some sort of thing in a short term, okay, cool. But like if it's still something in a short term where either you're just still drowsy, needing a whole ton of caffeine, hard to focus at work, you're grouchy and irritable, and like the afternoons are just a period of time where you wait to go to bed or try to go to bed, and you're just losing things that made you who you were, right? Whether it's being physically active, certain hobbies, being the engaged, like, parent or friend or partner. This isn't really enough here, okay? Help a little, but if you're someone who really wants to fix this, you'll have to always be thinking, what's the like? How can you just take care of the real issues underneath? Because this is the goal. Being able to sleep in a position like this, where maybe you only wake up, I mean, really once or twice a night, okay, and not because you're choking for air or anything like that. I'm talking like it's okay to get up once a night and like go to the bathroom. That's fine. Two, we're kind of pushing it, but honestly, the goal should be able to, we'll just say around one. Sleep 6 to 8 continuous hours. You're permitted one nighttime awakening, go to the bathroom, maybe your cat meows, whatever. But like that's really what the goal is. And positional sleeping can get you towards there, but it will not get you there. All right? Big difference. Okay. So those are the big pieces on that particular topic of the positional therapy, how that all comes together. All right. And here, let me just kind of pull this up. There it is. There's my link. Because kind of help you understand a little bit more of some of these processes here. I mean, really, episodes 1 through 3 of the Sleep Apnea Freedom series will cover some of these pieces here. So if you haven't checked those out already, really recommend that you do that here. Okay, and that is again, where's the well, you saw me type it in, so I'll just say ochnow.com /SA freedom. Okay, SA freedom, all one word. That's over here. Here we go. There it is. There's that. And again, if you're someone who you recognize the limitations of these little sort of building blocks, or I mean even band-aids, if you will, and you want to be in a position where you're able to take care of this as efficiently and confidently as possible, then I'd be willing to help you out and be able to give you some of my time. So our free one-on-one evaluation call, where 45 minutes, we're talking about what are those biggest issues, what are those goals, and what are the paths to help get you there. And if we can help, then I'll walk you through those details. If not, I will steer you in whatever else is going to work for you based on the needs that we uncover. Because this is all about being able to have that good, thorough evaluation there. All right, so that's ochnow.com /talk. All right, again, that's ochnow.com /talk. Once you're there, here's a little form. You just fill it out. Pretty simple here. It does take a little bit to load, so don't like freak out when you see the little line. Okay. So there you go. So thanks for joining me today, and hope you learned at least something. All right. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.